All those amazing things we keep hearing that AI can do. Well, get ready for this one. Scientists have used AI to create a brand new protein, and it glows. It's something totally unique. They're calling it esmGFP. And the really wild part is, it would take in nature like 500,000,000 years to evolve something similar. We're talking serious timescales here, longer than dinosaurs roamed the Earth. So let's break down not just what this protein is, but why it's sending shockwaves through the scientific community. First things first, proteins are the building blocks of life. They're these complex molecules that do all sorts of jobs in our bodies and in every living thing. And for decades, scientists have been trying to figure out how to design new proteins that can do specific things, like fight diseases or create new materials. But it's really hard. It's like trying to solve a giant, complicated puzzle. You need to figure out the exact sequence of amino acids, which are like the puzzle pieces, and then you need to figure out how they all fit together in 3 dimensions. That's what we call protein folding. And that's where this AI comes in. It's called ESM3. And it's a powerful language model. Now, you might be thinking, wait, a language model for proteins? What does that even mean? Well, it turns out that proteins have their own kind of language, a code written in the sequence of amino acids. And just like you can train a language model to understand and generate human language, you can train one to understand and generate the language of proteins. So the researchers fed ESM3 a massive amount of data on existing proteins, basically showing it all the different ways that amino acids can be arranged to create functional proteins. And then, here's the really cool part. They gave ESM3 an incomplete protein blueprint. It was like giving it a puzzle with some pieces missing and saying, okay, fill in the blanks. And you know what? This AI, ESM3, not only filled in the blanks, but it did it in a way that nobody expected. It designed a protein unlike anything found in nature, and it did it by essentially simulating 500,000,000 years of evolution in the blink of an eye. So what is this new protein? It's called esmGFP, and it's a type of green fluorescent protein, or GFP. You might have heard of GFPs, the proteins that make jellyfish glow. Scientists love GFPs because they can be used as tiny glowing tags to track other proteins in cells and organisms. Now, this esmGFP doesn't just glow. It's actually 58% different from any naturally occurring GFP. You might think, 58%? Is that a big deal? But in the world of proteins, it's huge. It's like discovering a whole new species. And here's why that's so exciting. This difference means esmGFP could have unique properties that make it even more useful for research. It might glow brighter, last longer, or even be sensitive to specific things in the environment. And remember that 500,000,000 years figure. That's how long it would have taken nature to evolve those unique features on its own. But this AI did it in a fraction of that time. This breakthrough has enormous implications, especially for medicine and research. Imagine being able to design proteins to target specific diseases, deliver drugs directly to cells, or even create entirely new materials with properties we haven't even dreamt of yet. We're talking about potentially revolutionizing entire industries. But it's not just about like the practical applications. This discovery also raises some big philosophical questions, like if AI can create proteins that nature hasn't even thought of, what does that tell us about the nature of intelligence? Are we seeing like a new kind of creativity emerging from these algorithms? And what about the implications for like the future of evolution? Will AI play an increasingly important role in shaping the diversity of life on Earth? Could we see like hybrid ecosystems where natural and artificial proteins coexist? It's a mind-boggling thought, but not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Now, you might be wondering how this AI, ESM3, actually thinks about proteins. It's not magic or anything. It's all about patterns and probabilities. Remember how I said proteins have their own language? Well, ESM3 has learned the grammar of that language. It understands how different amino acids interact with each other, how they fold into complex 3D shapes, and how those shapes determine a protein's function. So when the researchers gave ESM3 that incomplete protein blueprint, it was able to use its knowledge of protein grammar to fill in the missing pieces in a way that made sense, both structurally and functionally. Think of it like this. If you gave a talented writer like the first few lines of a story, they could probably come up with a pretty good ending, right? They'd use their understanding of narrative structure, character development, and language to create a cohesive and compelling story. That's essentially what ESM3 is doing, but with proteins instead of words. And just like a good writer can surprise you with unexpected twists and turns, ESM3 was able to come up with a protein design that nobody had ever seen before. It's like it took a leap of creative intuition, guided by its deep understanding of protein science. It's important to remember that ESM3 didn't just randomly throw amino acids together. It had to consider all sorts of factors, like the stability of the protein, its ability to fold correctly, and whether it would actually fluoresce. And it had to do all of this while staying within the constraints of the incomplete blueprint it was given. It's a remarkable feat of computational engineering, And it speaks to the power of AI to not only mimic, but also extend human intelligence. We're not just talking about automating tasks here. We're talking about creating something truly novel, something that pushes the boundaries of what we thought was possible. But with great power comes great responsibility. As we venture further into this brave new world of AI-designed proteins, we need to be mindful of the ethical implications. We need to have open and honest conversations about the potential risks and benefits of this technology and make sure we're using it for the betterment of humanity. While this AI-designed protein is incredible, we got to remember that nature has been in the protein design game for billions of years.
Sure.
In that time, it's created some truly remarkable things. I mean, just think about like the diversity of life on Earth, and from like the bioluminescent creatures of the deep sea to the towering trees of the rainforest. All of that complexity is built on a foundation of proteins, each one perfectly adapted to its specific role. And that's why I find this whole thing so fascinating. On the one hand, we have this powerful AI that can design proteins unlike anything we've ever seen. It's like having a magic wand that lets us manipulate the very building blocks of life. But on the other hand, we have nature, which has been tinkering and experimenting with proteins for billions of years, arriving at solutions we could never have imagined. So where do we go from here? I think like the most exciting possibility is that we can combine the best of both worlds. We can use AI to learn from nature's designs, to understand the principles that make proteins so versatile and adaptable. Imagine using AI to analyze the millions of proteins that already exist in nature, to like decode the secrets of their structure and function, and then use that knowledge to design even more amazing proteins. Proteins that could solve some of the world's biggest challenges. Like we could design proteins that can break down plastic waste or capture carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. We could design proteins that can target specific cancer cells or deliver drugs with pinpoint accuracy. The possibilities are truly endless. This AI-designed protein is just a glimpse into the future of biology, a future where we can harness the power of nature and technology to create a healthier, more sustainable world. It's a future full of promise, and I can't wait to see what we discover next.